one of the very important angles on Bitcoin is that it is the solution, the only solution we've ever discovered to a computer science problem that went long unsolved. It was decades, and it was considered to be unsolvable, I think, by many.
I think.
And that is the Byzantine generals problem. And so you may have heard of the telephone game, right?
Yep.
Where like you call someone on the telephone, you give them a message, and they pass it to someone else on the telephone. And by the time it goes through this big loop across all these telephone connected individuals, by the time the message gets back to you, it's a distorted message,
Correct.
right? The message has changed because people sort of change it at the edges as it goes. That's sort of like the Byzantine generals problem. In more specific language, it's how do you pass a message into this network of actors that can't trust one another.
Correct.
May even be antagonistic towards one another, so they may want to deceive one another. How do you pass a message in one end of that network and get the message out the other end of the network such that the message is the same going in as it is coming out? And this was long considered to be an unsolvable computer science problem because it's something that occurs at the social layer.
Right.
You can't trust these individuals to not distort the message. So prior to Bitcoin, there was widely believed to be no way to solve that.
Right.
Because it's a social layer problem, not a computer layer problem.
Right.
But lo and behold, we get Bitcoin and it solves this thing.
Right.
And we do have this way to propagate these messages now across, the world, right?
Right.
In a way that Bitcoin doesn't distort at all, right? Like a
Correct.
Bitcoin cent, there's no double spending, there's no counterfeiting, there's no distortion of the message. It's written in permanence on the time chain. So I'm just curious, like what, and then what we were talking about too, this is an interesting take on it. This might be a little bit in the theoretical domain. This came from conversations I'd had with Obi in the past.
Sure. Yeah, I like Obi.
And just the idea of like, how do you stop Bitcoin? And the one very viable theory was that at some point you would have needed all the nation states in the world to coordinate all of their actions in lockstep against Bitcoin, right? They would need to outlaw it. They would need to, propagandize against it. They'd probably need to jail Bitcoiners, tax it, regulate it, attack it, whatever. But all the nation states would need to do it all at once and all the same way. Like they'd need, in other words, nation states would need to solve their own Byzantine generals problem. How do we coordinate all of our actions in lockstep?
Good luck.
And well, again, there's no solution to that problem other than Bitcoin. So what the prediction is, well, nation states aren't going to do that because they can't do that. They can't trust one another. So what will they ultimately do? They'll buy Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And here we are, 2025.
Here we are, and they're buying Bitcoin.
Nation states are buying Bitcoin.
Yeah, they have to. I mean, just like Larry Fink's buying Bitcoin. I mean, he was a fiat lord, but he realized that this is going to happen with him or without him, and he'd rather be a part of it and make money than ignore it and get fired like the Vanguard guy did.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, the technical innovation here, it's just stunning. Yeah. It's absolutely stunning. As we talked about earlier, money has always deflected. Here we have mathematically formed, algorithmically formed, consensus formed money that can't deflect. It can't be diluted. It's a huge, huge technical achievement. Yeah. And that's sadly what I think so many people are missing. People who aren't aware of it and aren't thinking hard about it, or who are distracted by all the crypto fraud and noise.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, click here to find more just like it, and here to find our most recent episode. Also, make sure to like this video to help shine light on the corruption of money. And be sure to subscribe to this channel to stay connected.